Hello everyone, welcome back to Owen's Treats. For today's video, we're going to be making a super simple recipe. I have a barbecue to go to in around 1 to 2-ish hours. So I want to make something super simple. It's only 3 ingredients, and it's very similar to one of my favorite Girl Scout cookies. So I will be making kind of variation off of them basically. And I thought it'd be something fun to bring and something fun to make and to show you guys. So with that, let's get into the video. Okay, so to make our cookie, our vanilla wafer cookie, I have vanilla wafers here. I have a can of peanut butter, and then I have 1 bag of semi-sweet chocolate chips. And also, if you want to use milk chocolate chips, that's also okay as well. Since we're not going to temper our chocolate because it's too much of a hassle, we're just going to be melting them down in a microwave-safe container. And then with all the tools that I have with me, I just have wax paper on a cookie sheet. And then I have this kind of modified fork, and it's going to help us dip our wafer cookie into our chocolate. And then this will also help with dipping. And then this is to stir our chocolate. So with all of our simple steps, simple ingredients, and simple tools, we're going to start with our first step, which is going to take our vanilla wafer and spreading a little bit of peanut butter on the top of it. Alright, so for our first step, we're going to spread our peanut butter on top of our vanilla wafers. So I'm going to get some of our vanilla wafers out of the box. I'm looking for the mostly intact ones. I had vanilla wafers left over from a different recipe that I did for a different party, and now I'm reusing them again. And I'm going to try and spreading out the wafers as evenly as possible, because although they don't have chocolate on them right now, they will once we dip them, and that chocolate will spread out, and we don't want them sticking together. So I have around 12 cookies on our baking sheet. And I'm going to do around a teaspoon of peanut butter on each vanilla wafer. And you kind of just want it to stay almost in the center of the cookie. So you don't want to go all the way to the edge because it's going to make it hard to hold. And you just want a kind of nice, neat dollop that follows the dome of the cookie. But my aim is not perfect. And we're going to just dollop this peanut butter onto all of our cookies until we have all of them covered with a nice dollop of peanut butter on top. And you don't have to do, there's no specific amount of ingredients, so it's not like a cup, anything like that. It's kind of just like approximate. See what you like best with these kind of cookies. If you want more peanut butter, do like 2 teaspoons and see how you feel. If you find it harder to dip in the chocolate, do a little bit less and see how you feel. It's kind of just based off of how easy you're making the cookies, what your preferences are. And if you don't want to use peanut butter, you could also use like a hazelnut spread, a marshmallow fluff. Anything works with these cookies, but the peanut butter and chocolate duo combination always works so well. But if you have any kind of allergies, like especially to peanut butter, you can feel free to substitute with any kind of spread you can have that you know will taste good with a little bit of chocolate around the edge. So now that we have our first step done with our peanut butter dolloped on top of our wafer, we're going to move on to our second step, which is going to be melting down our chocolate. So I'm going to set these off to the side as we're going to melt down our chocolate. Okay, so we have our cookies kind of off to the side, and then now we're going to melt down our chocolate. So I have a microwavable safe bowl here, or a measuring cup I should say, and I'm going to pour in around a cup, maybe a cup and a half, for around 12 cookies. I think a cup and a half looks good. So I have a cup and a half worth of chocolate, and I'll melt down more if I need to. And that's kind of based off of how many cookies I have, because I need to fully submerge them in chocolate. I'm just going to melt this down first to see how much chocolate there is. If I need to melt down more, I'll pour in more chocolate chips and continue to stir until everything's melted. So I'm going to put this in the microwave on 30-second increments until the chocolate is fully melted, and then we will begin dipping our peanut butter wafers. Okay, so I have our fully melted down chocolate, and I gave it a few taps on a flat surface so I can get rid of any air bubbles, and it allows the chocolate to settle in nice one layer on the bottom. And so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to start dipping the cookies just so the chocolate doesn't cool. So basically what I'm going to do, I took a fork and I just bent the end of it so it acts as like a little hook. So it props the cookies up, and I can also just simply plunge them in. And I'm also going to use this to help press down the cookie if it wants to just float on the surface. So I'm going to dip a cookie one at a time into our chocolate. I'm going to use our little stick. I'm going to move it around a little bit. And I'm going to just submerge the cookie so it is covered in chocolate. Then once I think it is fully covered, I'm going to take it out of the chocolate, remove any excess I can, and basically all I'm going to be doing is kind of moving it up and down so I can get rid of any excess, and using our little mini guy to help get anything off the edge. And do one scrape at the bottom, and I'm just going to push our cookie onto our sheet. And we have one perfectly good, smooth cookie. And I'm just going to keep repeating this with all of our cookies until we have them all covered. And if you really want to spice up the cookies, you can sprinkle a little sea salt on top. You can add nuts if you want to. You can add sprinkles too. I'm just going to leave them as is because they're a classic cookie as is. I'm just going to keep doing the rest of these. So I'm going to have all these done, and then I'm going to tell you guys what our third and final step is before we enjoy them. So I'm going to finish dipping all of our cookies, and then I will come back when I have them all done. Okay, now that we have all of our cookies all dipped in our chocolate, I'm going to move this into the fridge and let them set fully for around 5 to 10-ish minutes. And then we're going to take them out, and then they are ready to eat. So I also had to wash my hands and also wash our chocolate bowl. So I'm going to throw these into the fridge for around 5-ish to 10-ish minutes, just until the chocolate fully sets, and then they're ready to serve and eat. So these are going to go into the fridge just for 5 to 10-ish minutes, and then they will be ready. And here are our finished vanilla wafer cookies out of the fridge. They have cooled down completely, and they look fantastic. I can't wait to try one. Thank you guys for joining me on another episode of Owen's Treats. I'll see you guys in the next one. I hope you guys make this super simple 3-ingredient cookie. I can't wait to try it, and I have more batches in the fridge ready to go for the party. Thank you guys so much for joining me on another episode of Owen's Treats, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye-bye!